Ma'am, thank you very much for accepting this invitation. Uh, Today, around 2,500 children are viewing this on the YouTube, and the school children of Bangalore Urban are on the direct link, and their questions will be on the chat. Uh, uh, it's very great privilege for me to introduce you. I consider one of the smallest person to introduce you, ma'am, to this introduction to the children. Vigyan Jyoti is a brainchild of Department of Science and Technology for promotion of girl students towards the STEM education, especially in the non-represented area. So we have taken this as a pilot implementation agency. 50 of our schools have got 50 children each in those schools who are either Navodaya students or students from other government schools. So this, the aim is to reach them up to the scientific level. What I mean to say is that our effort is to reach them towards your area, ma'am. So that is what the purpose is. Children, I take the opportunity to introduce Dr. Manju Sharma. I can, in single sentence, say that she is an evangelist of starting scientific institutions. She has given shape to many biotechnology institutes in the country, which are under Department of Biotechnology and otherwise also. She has been a participant in lot of policy making bodies in India. Apart from her research work, she has been keenly interested in developing a ecosystem of researchers in the country. Now it's a great occasion that she headed Indian Institute of Advanced Research in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. She earlier also served as the Secretary Department of Biotechnology in the Ministry of Science and Technology. You will also be happy to know that she was awarded Padma Bhushan in way back 13 years ago, 2007. She played a significant role in establishing several institutions in the country, including the National Institute of Immunology, which is there in Delhi, National Institute of Plant Genomic Research, which is there in Calcutta. You have heard the director, Professor Partha Mujumdar, the other day, and the Plant Molecular Biology Unit in Delhi University, and Center for DNA Fingerprinting, which is there in Hyderabad. Many such institutions she has been mentoring, and it is the greatest occasion for the children to interact with you, ma'am. On behalf of Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, I welcome you. May I request, sir, Commissioner sir, to have a word, sir?
Namaskar, ma'am. I have the privilege to be in this August gathering audience which you are heading today. Ma'am, this Jawaharlal Navodaya Vidyalaya is a collage of 665 schools, 2.7 lakh children, 20,000 faculty, and not to boast of, I am proud of part of this family. They call me head of the family. This year, so far as class 12th result are, we are number 1 in the country. So far as class 10th, we missed by fraction of, like say in 100-meter race, fraction of seconds. We became number 2. Otherwise, we were number 1 only. We consider also our number 1. That's why. And with you, with your enlightenment, our kids, they'll get more and more clarity of the subject of this Vigyan Jyoti arena, and promise our team, whatever direction guidance you give, our team will try to lead our kids in that direction. Thank you, ma'am. Now, may I request ma'am for some kind words?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Namaskaram and very good afternoon to all my distinguished hosts and to my very dear children who have gathered here to listen to me and try and see how best I can make my talk interesting and useful for you. Particularly when I talk to the girls, I'm very concerned about their future, their welfare, and their happiness. So I will start with a very important quotation. I want to first of all start by telling the girls that how important it is to study science, technology, uh, engineering, and mathematics, and what an important role they can play in your life. Once you study them, you pursue a career in STEM, and finally, you are uh, going to use STEM for the welfare of the country, the welfare of the society, for the welfare of the country. Now, I want to start with the sport of. Can you shift it a little? I can't read it. Okay. L.M. Letterman, a Nobel laureate, said, and I want to read it to you, educating children in basic science so that they become better informed and appreciate both the power and limits of science is essential if they are to be sufficiently equipped to survive the next week. Next. Our former president, Dr. Abdul Kalam, in a speech when he was talking in Bangalore in 2006, also said the same thing. Definitely all women scientists can play an important role in the national development. The number of women scientists world over has been growing at a faster pace, removing any impediments that come in the way of harnessing this vast pool of brilliant, hardworking, and dedicated knowledge power should be the focus of this seminar. He was speaking in a national seminar which was held in Bangalore in August 2006. The reason I wanted to quote these two quotes is I want to highlight how important science and technology, and of course engineering and maths added, are for the welfare of humankind, and in particular when women are involved in pursuing a career in science and technology, engineering and maths, how important it becomes for the nation. Next. You see, one point which we must keep in mind is that if you want a people-centric sustainable development, that is half of human resources of this country, the precious human capital, half of it is constituted by you. Now, when the women constitute half of the human resource, then all the areas of mathematics, physical sciences, engineering, etc., the representation is very low. And one important point which again comes up is uh, when the women today have become astronauts, they are soldiers, they are pilots, So it's not that women cannot handle any difficult areas of responsibility. Therefore, when we talk of STEM, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, we have to change our perception. We must decide that girls at the primary, middle, and high school, from there onwards, they start thinking about science subjects. That is, they start thinking about STEM. You know, something which is deeply ingrained, a perception in our minds, in the minds of the girls especially, that they cannot do maths. Now, this is not correct. Why we should not think that the girls cannot do mathematics? Mathematics, engineering, these are all the areas which any bright student, girl or a boy, can do it very well, and they can pursue a career in these areas. Also, access to information is a very, very critical issue. If you don't have information about the most advanced aspects of the science, you don't have information about what is happening in science, it will be difficult for you to pursue science as a career. You see, teachers and the senior scientists, policymakers, they all have a very, very important role to play. Teachers today are the most important motivating force for the young students, because it is from the student life that we have to start thinking about a career. Teachers are the best guide, are the best mentors, and they can show you the best pathway, what to do, how to do, when to go about. All these are questions the teachers can answer the best. Next one, please. Next. Now, International Women's Day is celebrated all over the world on the 8th March every year. And they give a theme. Every year there is a new theme. And this year the theme is I am Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. An equal world is an enabled world. I hope you understand this. An equal world is an enabled world. Therefore, now we are talking of the equality, gender equity, and also realizing women's rights. So, International Women's Day is a very important in the life of especially the senior women scientists, and it is celebrated every year on the 8th of March. Next slide, please. Next. Now, in this connection, I want to remind you, go back to the previous one. This is Marie Curie. Children, you know Marie Curie? You've heard her name? She got 2 Nobel Prizes, and she is one of the most celebrated women scientists of this world. She said, and just listen carefully, life is not easy for any one of us. But what of that? We must have perseverance and, above all, confidence in ourselves. We must believe that we are gifted for something and that this thing must be attained. You understand, children? When I say this, we must believe that we are gifted for something and that this must be attained. This was said by Marie Curie. Next one. Today, if you see the world, and every day you must be reading the newspaper and television you must be watching. There are phenomenal technological advances which have taken place in the world. Every area of science, starting with biology to engineering to physical sciences like physics, chemistry, and maths, engineering, all have advanced very rapidly. And we want to find answers to many of our problems which we face day by day to day in these areas of science. I think this point is clear to you. What I have said, that science has moved very fast. There are many achievements, many advances which have taken place. For example, I want to give you example from the present day situation of COVID-19, the pandemic. Uh, the whole world, the entire world community, all the politicians, at the higher level science managers, everybody is looking as to what will a vaccine, when will a vaccine come as a for the COVID-19, for the rescue of millions and millions of people in the world. So vaccine research has become one of the critical areas where everybody wants to focus. This is just one example I gave you. The other day we heard a lot about earthquakes. Now, whenever there is an earthquake, everybody starts thinking, we must realize why this earthquake has come. What is the problem? What is the issue? What is happening under the earth? There are so many questions which one has to answer when there is an earthquake. An earthquake, certainly is a very serious and critical issue for any country. There can be many lives which can go. There can be a lot of loss of wealth and property and everything. So when we talk of phenomenal technological advances, we cover a very broad spectrum in different areas of science. Next. And at that time, we realize that utilization of the talents of women should not be viewed only from the perspective of gender equity. It must be understood that full involvement of women in scientific and technological efforts is today essential for rapid economic development and sustainable happiness. I have just tried to sum up what I wanted to say in a short time, that women should not be just viewed from the viewpoint of gender equity. When women are involved in actual developmental work, it makes the whole thing much more efficient, much more rapid, and much easily absorbable by the society. Next one, please. There are several international initiatives which have taken place, including from the first conference of the United Nations in Mexico in 1975, which discussed various issues related to women. Next one. UN conference, I've just listed them. In 1975, then the Beijing Declaration, which happened in China in 1995. Then there is a report prepared by the UNIAS Committee on Women and Science. Then TWAS, the Third World Academy, has a standing committee. There is a UNESCO report. Then there are so many coordination and collaboration programs between these organizations, which I have listed, TWS, TWAS, UNESCO, and OECD, IAC, etc., etc. So why I want to list these things for you is just to tell you that there are a lot of international activities which are taking place with regard to the involvement of women and how to increase the involvement of women in STEM. activities. Next. Next. A Beijing Declaration of the adopted at the Fourth World Conference had said, and you can see it, equality, development, and peace of women globally. These are the three very important components which were resolved at the Beijing Declaration. Next one. There are many meetings and conferences which have taken place. This is just to tell you that there is so much going on in the whole world. So many activities, so many programs, so many organizations. That means that the subject is very, very important. These programs are all women, STEM, and their involvement. Inclusiveness. Next. Then there are Indian government's initiative. There is a separate ministry for women and child welfare. There is a scheme under which we are now talking, science and technology for women. Then there is an inter-academy panel. There are technology parks, exclusive biotechnology park for women in Chennai. So there are many initiatives government has taken to encourage more and more women to join the whole area, wide spectrum of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Next one. Now, this is a thing which you may not like to take too much time on it, but I just want to tell you that there are many policy issues which have always involved the role of women scientists and technologists. After independence, we had the first policy statement, 1958, which was called the Scientific Policy Resolution. Later on, there was a technology policy statement. Later on, there was a science, technology, and policy statement. And then finally, the science, technology, and innovation policy, 2013, which was developed again by the Department of Science and Technology. And next one, and this included a major role of an importance of women taking up the science as a career. You will see, I'll show you what the Science and Technology Innovation Policy said. Next one. The Scientific Policy Resolution had said to ensure creative talent of men and women is encouraged and finds full scope in scientific activity. Then the 2003 policy again emphasizes to promote the empowerment of women in all science and technology activity and ensure their full and equal participation. Next. Next. And all these statements in here, and this is the latest Science and Technology Innovation Policy, which states gender parity, participation of women in science, technology, innovation activities is important. New and flexible schemes to address the mobility challenges of employment women, scientists, and technologists will be put in place. A broad scope for re-entry of women into R&D and facilitation mechanisms for special career paths in diverse areas will be sought. So the latest Science and Technology Innovation Policy has very clearly brought out the role of women, and we should be conscious of gender parity. We should not go by the earlier model that only the boys will go for mathematics and engineering and the girls will not go. No, today the girls have become astronauts. They have become very successful engineers. They have become very successful business managers. So we should just not bothered about the gender parity, because it is a must in the present day circumstances. Next. Next, the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. Okay, that one, the previous slide. Government of India has also brought out a document called Towards Gender Parity in Science and Technology Sector. Why we bring out these documents? So that we emphasize the need, based on the policy statements, that there is need for many programs to be launched for the women in science and technology to make a real good career. Next one. There are some major issues which I think we need to consider, and especially when I'm mentioning these, I'm also trying to address the authorities and the teachers. Science and technology are essential for solving many global problems. And today's pandemic problem also we are trying to solve only through science and technology. Inclusion of women in scientific and technological endeavors is essential. Global capacity building is called for. Gender equality, access to information, retention of girls in leaky pipeline, especially at the tertiary and mid-career level. Next one. Statistics have shown that not too many girls have joined physical science areas, especially mathematics. And about 40% of the university positions in 2000 were taken in India by women scientists and technologists. 22% in engineering and technology, and 40% in rest of the science. There are many statistics and there are many documents which have been brought out by the Department of Science and Technology, which bring out these numbers, which are important for the policy makers. Next one, please. Critical issue here, what I want you to understand is the inclusiveness on part of the science and technology leadership world over. You understand that? When we say leadership, we are talking of the ministers, we are talking of the prime minister level, we are talking of at the head of the any organization level. Commitment at the highest level, review of all the policies and procedures. Every now and then we should review that are we including enough number of girls? Transparency in appointments, when we make appointments, recruitments, promotions, we give awards, etc. There should be total transparency. Then leadership, training and mentoring. This is again a very, very critical issue. Leadership, training and mentoring. We need mentoring of girl students all the time. Next. This is just one slide I want to show you, which is the technological empowerment of women at the grassroots level is also essential. You know, our women sisters, they are working in the farm fields, they are working in the as landless laborers. They are doing so many of these jobs, and in villages particularly, most of these chores are being done by women. But are we giving them enough training? So that's why I thought that you must also know, and many of you would be like going after your higher training to the rural areas for the training of these women. So most important component is that we should train them. Set up knowledge centers, institutional framework, generate a cadre of women scientists and engineers. This is very critical, that we should have a large number of women scientists and engineers, empowering women at the grassroots and community-based projects. These are all very critical areas for the technological empowerment of women at the grassroots level. Next one. Skill improvement. I'm sure the young girls and students must have heard that present government is giving a lot of importance to skill improvement, skill enhancement, skill development. There is a separate ministry which has been set up for the skill improvement. And why do we need that? To ensure livelihood at the grassroots level, uh, identification and development of appropriate technologies. This is very important. We must identify which are the technologies which are required for the welfare of human society. Very urgent. Establishing training and mentoring centers, promoting entrepreneurship development, ensuring financial assistance, and setting up of the knowledge centers. These are some of the areas which come under the skill improvement, skill enhancement, and skill development. Next. Next one, please. So the basic, go back to the previous one. The basic philosophy has to be to next one, please. The basic philosophy has to be to advocate science and technology application which would foster a job-oriented economic growth and social happiness. Today, my dear students, one of the areas which or about which we are all very seriously concerned is the unemployment of the youth. Thousands and thousands of young people are going around, they are trained, they are educated in the for the want of new jobs. Basic in science and technology has to be job oriented. There are areas where we need to focus: agriculture, healthcare, biotechnology, basic sciences, physical chemistry, mathematics. These are all the areas. Again, the areas we should try and give study and knowledge for orientation towards jobs and economic growth. Next one, please. Next one, please. Okay. Now I come to another aspect of my talk. Let's go back to the previous one. Can we go back to the previous slide? Okay. The academies, you know, have a very, next one, please. The next one. Yeah. The academies have a very important role to play in advocating in popularization of science and technology and in sensitization of women for taking up science, technology, engineering, and maths as the career. We have got very good work done by the academies in the country. All the academies have taken keen interest in propagating that science is very, very essential for the career of women, and particularly their involvement will help not only the women themselves, but also the society, the nation, and the world as a whole. And in this case, I want to mention that the National Academy of Sciences, India, it has organized 32 workshops in different areas like health, nutrition, agriculture, environment, employment generation, education, empowerment and training, entrepreneurship development, etc. We've had programs in Bangalore itself organized by the National Academy of Sciences. Next one, please. Next one, please. And they have a role to play where they should lead and get many programs started which should take care of this gender issues on their agenda and increasing women's participation and visibility and sponsoring and evaluating research programs. So the academies have a very major role to play in the career of women scientists and technologists. Sorry. Next one, please. Next one. Now, what are the critical issues? This is just very briefly to sum up what I have tried to say. Realizing women's intellectual potential, a big challenge. In this, academies are uniquely placed to lead the way and in shaping the scientific workforce. Academy members can show their commitment to other women in their institutions. The science community can only change if the elite sets the example. See, the academies are considered to be the elite organizations. They have the best of brains, they have the highest level of scientific excellence. So they are the best ones to set up examples. Next one, please. Next one. And next one, previous one. Previous one. Yeah, this is a a lady who worked in Ford Motors in United States, and look at the way she has said, voices that are silenced or ignored for whatever reason represent not only an injustice but also a valuable resource that has been wasted, a tragic waste of human capital. And I told you in the early part of my lecture, girls, that women represent half of the human resource, and we cannot afford to waste that half of the human resource. Next one, please. Next one. What are the key tools for good management practices? Top level commitment, review of policies and programs, transparency, widening the inner circle, leadership, training and mentoring, supporting a healthy work-family balance, regular monitoring, sex disaggregated statistics. Next. Next, please. Advocating and promoting. The previous one, please. Advocating and promoting education and career of women, engaging women as partners in science and technology, global capacity building, creating inclusive institutional climate, and advising the governments to and play a key role in specific programs. Next one, please. Next one. Science and technology must be harnessed. Just go back to the previous one. Must be harnessed in a gender sensitive manner. There is urgent need, and I want you to note this, for confidence building amongst the women scientists. We must have confidence. As I said earlier when I read out the quotation from Marie Curie, that we should have confidence in whatever we do, then only we will progress fast. It is important to understand and take into account the multiple role women have to play and provide suitable support system to reduce their drudgery and strain are important. No, every girl, no matter if she's still young, she has a lot of work to do at home also, while studying, while pursuing a career, let us say in science. She has a lot of things to do at home. Help the mother in cooking, clean up the house, iron the clothes. If you have younger brothers, send them to school. These are all the roles girls have to play from the beginning, before they get married and they become brothers. So women have a dual responsibility. They have a societal responsibility, a family responsibility, and a responsibility towards nation. Next. Next one, please. Now, these are some of the issues. Previous one. Previous slide. health, food, nutrition security, these are very critical areas where women can play an important role. They can advise government to launch a specific targeted programs. Next one, please. Next one, networking amongst the women scientists is very important. Okay, you can leave this next one, please. Next one, we have to pay, go back to the previous slide. We have to pay more attention after this, more attention to the gender issues, then adopt good management practices, as I have told you, the key areas which need to be considered. Next one. Next. Now to conclude, one thing I'm sure I have been able to convey to you and you have understood is scientific and technological tools can be harnessed to benefit women both from the viewpoint of their livelihood security and lifestyle on a sustainable basis. Also, other facet of science and technology is to encourage more and more women to take up science as a career. Next point. It is visible today that the young girls are pursuing science and taking up various disciplines for their future progress. But what is important that they require mentoring by the teachers and nurturing by the authorities, creating adequate social environment conducive for women and scientists and technologists, providing large number of scholarships, research grants, awards, and recognitions. I have tried to sum up what I feel is very important, that is to mentor the young girls, to nurture them, create adequate environment, ensure their safety, and provide a large number of scholarships, research grants, etc. To the students. Next one. Next one, please. The dawn of the previous one. The dawn of the 21st century is marked by a very clear message: sustainable transformation through the industrial revolution and technological capability, driving and opening up new production avenues. That is it. Next one. Next one, please. The Millennium Summit has recommended unprecedented and extensive use of knowledge for the welfare of humankind. The third Millennium Development Goal also calls for a gender equity and empowerment of women. Next one. Next one, please. Academies, as I have said, please, last slide, previous slide. Go back to the previous slide. Academies have a very important role world over to create this knowledge-based society. Full involvement of women scientists and technologists, create a sustainable science and technology base, and the intellectual capital of the half of the human resource, again the women on the planet Earth, should be an integral part of the accelerated S&T drive towards progress, peace, and happiness of humanity. Next one, please. I want to show you a slide, Gender Revolution in Science and Technology. You can see French Olympiad winning team, and at the same time, these are the girls who are being given tissue culture training in greenhouse so that they can earn their livelihood. Lot of women can earn their livelihood through tissue culture technology. They can also teach to other farming women in particular. Next one, please. Next one. And here I show you something which was said by our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi. When a man is educated, an individual is educated. When a woman is educated, a family and a country are educated. I hope I have been able to convey to you the message that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are extremely important. As we call it STEM, STEM, extremely important and relevant for a future of girl child, women, particularly when they want to take up science as a career and they want to use science and technology, engineering, mathematics, etc., for the welfare of the society, for the welfare of the region in which they live, for the welfare of the country, and finally, for the welfare of the whole world. I hope, my dear young students, you have understood the message. But before I stop, I want to again tell you something. Please do not be scared of the today's COVID-19 pandemic. If you continue to use a mask, if you continue to maintain social distancing, and if you continue to wash your hands, clean your hands with soap at least for 20 seconds, and 5 to 7 times or 5 to 10 times in a day, I think you can save your family members, you can save the society, and you can save the country through the non-spread of the COVID virus, which is today creating a havoc. Thank you very much. Can we go back to questions if you want?
Yes, madam. 1 minute, madam, please. Children, if anybody got any kind of doubt, kindly clarify your doubt. Madam is available. Kindly pose your questions, please. One after another, you can pose your questions. Hello.
Probably children will require one or two leading questions before asking questions. If you, madam, permits, can I ask a question, ma'am?
Please.
Ma'am, it may be good for the children to have your personal experience of the research activity, especially when you work for plant idioblasts or silica content and the hardness of wood. Something like that, if you can just pick up one of them and then explain them your experiences with the research work, probably it will give a good view for.
From the childhood, uh, unfortunately, at that time, I did not have the advantage of having mentors or counselors. The teachers were not really interested in doing all that. But I had an excellent teacher who helped me to uh, guide towards my future. I told her explicitly that I wanted to become a doctor. But later on, when I realized after my 12th standard that if I become a doctor, I'll have to deal with the dead bodies, etc., I was very scared. And I decided I'll become a scientist instead. And I took up the plants as my career. And later on, when I was studying the plants, I had some very good teachers who guided me to do research and do more research. And as I papers, but finally, my mind was that I must do something for the welfare of the society and for the country. And someone advised me that since lot of science is being supported in India by the government. If you join the government, you will be able to support a lot of young students, women scientists, rural area women, etc., etc. And I was impressed by that, and I decided to join government and give my research. And I thought that I started the first scheme in the Department of Science and Technology, which was called Women for Science and Technology, or Science and Technology for Women. And it was very exciting experience I had in starting that scheme, providing so many scholarships, research grants to my women colleagues, young women students, giving them more and more many scholarships, etc., etc. So, basically now young girls are in a much better stage. They have got mentors. They have got many more women scientists who can advise them, who can guide them. But when I had taken up science as a career, there weren't too many women as mentors, I would say.
Thank,
The women
thank.
girls.
Yes, madam. Some people are on line actually. Nagabhaskar sir,
Sir,
kindly,
sir, I'm
please.
on.
Yes, please.
Hello. Good afternoon, madam. Can you hear me, please?
Yes,
Can you hear, please?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, madam, for this. Our officials have made a very important role to call a real role model to encourage the girls. As per the your experience in the research field and as a professional, you see that now data shows that 35% of women are entering into the science and technology stream. Okay. But when in a senior levels, at the senior most levels, only less than 1% are able to retain. Yes. So as you said, it's a leaky pipeline. But what may be the reason, madam? Because there is always a provision to come back after their familial responsibility and social responsibility of growing up their family and all. Still, retailers in India.
The Department of Science and Technology can yes, and the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, has started a scheme, including the Department of Biotechnology, can support who had to have a break in their career, break in their career because they were getting married or they were going to have children or they had some other social responsibility. And they can come back to science and they can start their career profession. And there are schemes which will fund them to start this.
But the retainers at the highest level is minimum. What may be a reason, madam, exactly? At the senior most level, the people who have been retained, especially the women scientists, is 1 or less than 1%, madam. Even the government policies have been so friendly to them, but still they are not able to.
That is why I said that we need more transparent, more strong procedures and guidelines, and academies should play an important role in pushing more and more women towards the leadership. And I think it is happening now. More women are joining as directors of the institute, as secretary to Government of India, as head of the business organizations. You can see now a change in the entire ecosystem in the country.
All this will helpful for the girls to. Sir, madam, please.
You have the classic and best example of Dr. Kiran Majumdar Shaw.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
started in such a difficult condition, and look at what she is. Just the dedication of the girls which helps them.
Madam, okay, madam, thank you very much. Madam, our children, I think your email ID is with me. With your permission, should I share with them whatever the doubt they are having? They may post the questions to the mail, madam. Is it all right?
But I didn't understand.
Madam, your mail ID is with us. With your permission, if I share the mail ID with the children, whatever the doubt they have, they can post it through mail. All right, Anna?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
In fact, I am mentoring a large number of girl students,
Thank
young
you.
women.
Okay,
Even
madam. Okay.
I am
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, sir, may I ask our respected Deputy Commissioner to propose vote of thanks, sir?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kannan, for
Yes, sir.
arranging such a great, meeting for our students with Dr. Manju Sharma, madam. Dr. Manju Sharma, madam, and respected and honorable commissioner and other officers present in the meeting. It is my great pleasure to thank Dr. Manju Sharma, madam, for initially accepting our invitation to be part of this initiative of Vigyan Jyoti. Vigyan Jyoti, a supportive program for promoting girl students towards STEM education. Madam, your rich contribution for the promotion and application of science with the deepest commitment is simply adorable for all of us. The clarity of career choices and career paths you have explained to the students will have a very long lasting impact in matching the talents of these girl students with STEM education, the main objective with which this Vigyan Jyoti program is being implemented in Navodaya Vidyalayas. And I am very happy to inform our students and the children who are listening to Madam Dr. Manju Sharma that Madam is the granddaughter of great Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, a leader of the Indian national movement, an educational reformer, and the founder of Banaras Hindu University, and who is the synonym of education for all. Madam, the ideas that you have given to our students, the blessings of you will go a very long way in impacting these students for choosing career in STEM education. I also take this opportunity to thank our beloved Commissioner for being a constant source of inspiration and support and guidance in conducting programs for the benefit of JNV students. It is my pleasure to thank Professor Abha Mishra, Department of Applied Physics, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, who is the nodal officer from our knowledge partner and who is the key person in arranging the meetings with veteran scientists for JNV students. And I also take this opportunity to thank Mr. Kannan, who has been the source of, facilitator for such meetings. I thank each one of you who is present in this meeting. Thank you, madam. Thank you once again for spending your valuable time with all of us.